to show you, because this is just going to be repeated over and over again, is I actually do this while loop scheme. So if you remember last video, we talked about the while loop in linked list and how we traverse through a while loop. I mean, how we traverse through a linked list with the while loop, right? We make current, a new node current, and then we say, well, current does not equal null, current equals current.next, okay? And if you come down here, I've made this function called drawList, and now you have enough to understand how I did this function, okay? And it's always going to be similar to how you traverse a linked list. So I make current equal to head, and then I make an x position of 40 and y position of 40. So we draw these things at these numbers at 40, 40. You can't really, if you draw them at 0, 0, I was afraid it was just gonna like cut them off, like try to put their center at 0, 0, and so you wouldn't see half of the numbers. So I started them at 40, 40. This is how you load a font in processing, but if you've noticed, it hasn't actually like loaded the font in, like it claims that font exists, but it doesn't have that font, so another font will be used. I don't know why. And then text font mono. Oh, right, because that's the name of the font. So this is processing font mono and then text font mono. I think that'll work, but this is where you would mess with the fonts if you needed to make a font. And remember, I think I showed you this before, but if you want to see the fonts, they are somewhere up here. Where is it? Tools. It should be in tools. Create font. Okay, and then you can see the font and you can create the font and whatever, and that'll just put the font in your data folder. To make this abundantly clear, there are fonts in your data folder. In my data folder for this, I have this Palatino bold 20.vlw, which is what processing used for fonts. This VLW file. I have no idea what's in that file. It just happened automatically when I came up here and said tools, create font, and I picked the font I wanted, which happened to be Palatino bold, which might be a Mac only font. Maybe not though, I don't know. Maybe it's like a Linux font. Okay, while current does not equal null, right? Current equals head. Well, current does not equal null, right? Well, current does not equal null. You probably have this in your notes anyways. Right? And then we're going to go through and we're going to print line current.data. Okay, so that'll print out to the console, whatever. And then we'll say text, and this is how you put text on the screen in processing. Some of you might know that from Pong. I saw some of you did some stuff with that, which is really cool. So I'm putting it in text at current.data and x position. The first one's going to be put at x position of 40, y position of 40. And then I'm going to add to the x position plus equals 40. Unless we're at the end of this thing. So if I'm at 780, it means that since this thing is 800, 800, it's time to get to the next row. I've gone all the way across, right? And now we need to go down to the next row. So I add 40 to y position and I make x 40. So we go all the way across, x is 40 again, and y is a little more like 80. And then we go across and then x is 40 again and y is gonna be 120. And then we go across. So you can hold, I think 19 by 19 numbers on that screen right now, which is a lot. It's almost, almost 400 or something. Okay, so, cool. All right, so, and then current is current next, all right? So remember, that, and that are basically our three elements of traversing through our linked list. So if you now have enough to actually do toString, right? And your toString should print this out to the console in this cool way, where if it's if head's pointing to null, it just says head is null, right? If head is pointing to a thing of 3, 4, it'll be head pointing to 3, pointing to 4, pointing to null. So 3 and 4 are the data, right? The 3 node, the data of this node is 3. Its next is pointing to a node whose data is 4. Its next is pointing to null, okay? And how would we do this? Well, we would traverse through it and grab the data and concatenate it to our string, right? String concatenation, you can use plus to concatenate 2 strings, all right? So you always start with the word head. You always end with the word null, right? And in between, you're going through each node and adding that data to the string, okay? Concatenating that data to the string, all right? And if you hint, right, you're gonna have these 3 things in it, okay? And make sure you understand what they do, all right? But you should have those 3 things in it. Think of your cases, okay? What's the, does it work for the empty list case, your toString? Does it work for the one element case? And does it work for the 2 element case and the n element case? And then if you want to test it, feel free to, you know, every time through the draw loop, you can say something like, I don't know, what is it? mylist.toString, okay? Mylist.toString, okay? Hopefully you'll see it all in the line, okay? It should all be in one line, not multiple lines, right? One line. So mylist.toString, but system.out.println mylist.toString, because mylist.toString is just going to return a string. That's going to be actually printable. But right now, it's just going to be the empty string, because that's all we have. All right, so make sure you return the correct string, and then try it out. Try to add some numbers, because you can add to head, right? You did that correctly. And yeah, that should be, you should be pretty golden. I will see you next video.